Hello.
You're up there.
You're up front, sir.
Look at the only thing. Cool.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
That's just goodies. Addition.
excuse me. I know you don't know me, but I wanted to extend my condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry for your loss, honey.
Thank you.
Debbie, there's some up here on the table if you want one. What do you mean?
Are they want to be annexed?
This is just an intent to annex. Yes, and it's, that is, right across from the bank entrance, I believe. It's on, Dogwood Lane. Dogwood Lane and 47 for the district.
We don't have to have a public hearing.
No, this is just an intent. This is just to let them know that it is our intent to annex them in.
Just that one lot?
Yes.
I had one on non-color, I'm not
I guess.
And are they aware?
Huh?
Are they aware or?
Yes, yes. Well, I say that, Brenda. I assume.
You
I
assume
shouldn't say that. Yeah, I'm assuming, so we might want to talk about that.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Thank you.
No, it's fine.
This mumble jumble legal stuff is like what? Right. Unfortunately, 7. So then you go back to law school in the county.
Okay, it is now 7 o'clock. If you don't mind standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. So first on our agenda, we're going to review the agenda, and we do have some additions. And if anybody has anything that they'd like to delete, no. We have addition of resolution 2024-R009 with the intent to annex for dispensary 4G, public works administration job description for ad. We're going to make that 4H. Update on FM changing, FM, oh, first one, yeah, changing of the, and that's gonna be 4-1. And then we're gonna talk about Boy Scout fundraiser on Martin on Main, which is gonna be 4J. And then we're also adding the county commissioner, EMA director, economic development to assist in understanding the zoning and projects, which is gonna be 4K.
Okay, what was 4I again? I apologize.
I'm sorry, the which one? I'm sorry, 4R. 4I, that was the first move. Let's see what we got here. We're gonna be discussing, well, actually, Nicole's gonna reference that one for first move.
Yeah,
This is an update.
there's no paperwork on that one.
H, I don't know either.
H is gonna be for, oh, I'm sorry, you weren't here for the last meeting. So we're gonna talk about the Public Works Administrator job description. That's what we're gonna talk about for that, for the ad that we're putting in the paper.
Okay.
And then also, Chief would like to also add something for closed session if possible.
Oh,
That
okay.
would be contractual, reference, a grant.
Contractual. And, no.
Boy Scouts down at the.
And then, actually, Rich, I'm gonna need to get from you the number and all that for closed session.
Okay.
I will get that. And then we're also gonna talk about an old business, Winfield Senior Housing. The discounts that they're receiving for, is that sewer connect, Rach?
Yeah, sewer dwelling.
Sewer dwelling. And I think that's all of them, I believe. So entertain a motion with all of those changes, to approve the agenda with all of these additions.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call. Alderman Raskowski.
Aye.
Alderman Sargent.
Aye.
Alderman Hanson. And Alderman Reed.
Aye.
Okay. Now we will approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was September 12th. You wouldn't mind reviewing those? Let me know if there's any kind of changes or maybe any typos or anything like that.
Thank you for that reminder.
I make a motion to approve the September 12th minutes.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Alderman Sargent.
Abstain since I wasn't in closed session to approve the minutes.
Alderman Hanson.
Aye.
Alderman Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Raskowski.
Aye.
And if you wouldn't mind now, we will move forward with the bills. We have general bill, and then we have the water sewer bill. Anybody have any questions for Rachel?
So I have a question about a bill, but I don't know if Officer Brown can answer it, because it's in reference to the K-9.
Okay.
Okay, so, there's a bill on here for $549.99. Like I said, for Don, for vet stuff, but I thought our vet was,
Normally. So typically our veterinary care is donated. There are some things that they do not cover,
Okay.
X-rays, things like that. It was in regards to a hip issue. He was having a bad leg, so they did X-rays and stuff, and that's where the cost occurred.
okay, that works. I just wanna make sure that, you know, because I know a lot of this stuff is donated, so, yeah. But if it's like something, and then I think, what is it, shots and stuff too?
Medicine.
Medicines we pay for? Okay. Thank you.
And then we can proceed to the financials as well. If anybody has any questions for those. And I know most everybody has had some time to review these. Since we did get them out pretty early, so, if nobody has any questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the financial.
So moved.
You make a motion? Second.
By roll call, Alderman Hanson,
Aye.
Alderman Reed,
Aye.
Alderman Wiskowski,
Aye.
Alderman Sargent.
Aye.
Okay. Now we're gonna go into public comment, and actually Debbie just turned this in for the agenda, which it is actually on the agenda. And, it says, Winfield Senior Housing on the agenda, what or what? And actually, I wanted to just, it's not really anything, we were going to discuss. So there's 25% discount that's given to senior living.
What did it just kill?
The, rate,
What, I'm sorry?
the 25%.
25% is applied to the Winfield, senior residential.
And exactly what.
And that is for the dwelling charges.
The dwelling charge.
Yes.
Okay, so, and this is what I just wanted to bring to the board, okay, was the fact that now I'm having multiple businesses that are wanting to have the exact same discount. So that's what I wanted to bring to the board, is we are going to,
Were they built, where were they built?
oh, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Well, see, we've been here since 1979. What they did in 79, they didn't do in 99. He took your increase. And anytime I hear discount, I'd like you to look at every senior up there and tell them about that discount. $180-something water bill, $700 and something sewage. We have no washers and dryers in the apartments. We have no dishwashers. Nobody waters their grass or waters their flowers. And now you act like we got a discount. Our rent went up because of the sewage.
Did you
So
say
real-
that your sewer is 700 and something?
I get every water bill, every board member gets a water bill, so we can see what it is. It's unbelievable.
No, I'm only asking that because it should not be. You should only be getting charged, $436.80 for your sewer. So if that's the case, we need to look at that.
Well, since this all came about, you need to go and look at it then, because we've done nothing but comply and pay.
And well, in fact, Debbie, I actually just checked that before we came in here tonight, and your sewer charge is $436.80. It's not 700 and something.
I'll tell you what.
Maybe your final bill is 700 and something, possibly.
I'll bring the bills.
Okay,
I've got one like that.
do you? How much is it?
Right under 700,
But now you're not receiving a discount, though.
none whatsoever. I've got, they're charging me for 3 meters that I don't have. From 85 till present, I've paid for 1 meter that furnishes all that. I don't have the money to install meters for everyone, and this is breaking me. It's bad.
So that's what we, and Debbie, did you want, I know you're on, did you?
I think you pretty much answered
Okay.
it.
All right. So now we will go into old business and we'll just stay on and then we'll go back to that. 3A was the awards banquet. And Nicole, I know you wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we, last year for our awards banquet, we went to Don Julio's, he provided dinner for us. He gave me a proposal for the same thing this year, for it to be on December 11th. Roughly, I gave him 25 people, but we're probably gonna have more. Last year, I think we had a couple more than that. So basically, all I'm doing is just seeing if we wanna go ahead and approve awards banquet for December 11th, and then a dollar amount that we're approved for, so that we know how much we're allowed to spend for it. So I figure we have like 30-ish people, and then it's $12 a person.
I was gonna say, how much was it last year and how much?
Last year was 300, so the city did 300 for all of the employees and their spouses or whoever they wanted to bring, and then Tracy and I did, and I think Rachel, we did the tip and then drinks for everybody. So, I had it added up, but I lost it. So it's $360 if we just have 30 people.
I'll pay for all of my officers in there, plus ones, just so the city doesn't have to.
Thank you, sir.
Anything that's just gonna be probably right around 360?
That's just for the flat food for everybody, so, and I'm okay with doing the tip stuff again, like we did last year.
Yeah, I'll donate that as well.
So, and that's generally what we do, the aldermen and so forth,
Right.
the mayor will all chip in for that portion of it.
I know I wasn't there last year, but, I'm gonna be there this year. So, just go ahead and, Rach, on my end, just go ahead and put my end for that,
Okay,
okay? And that'll be the December one,
okay.
okay?
So do we wanna approve an amount so I can give them the okay, or how do you wanna do that?
So that's really up to you guys what you wanna approve. As far as, I guess, just wanna approve the 360, or do you wanna approve 400, or what do you think? I mean, I know that, like I said, I don't think there's gonna be a huge expenditure now.
Yeah, I don't think it will be either.
You wanna do it? We'll just go ahead and, I entertain a motion to, I mean, I know we're not gonna get there, but a motion to maybe 300.
We good with budget?
Hmm?
How would that look with our budget and everything?
We haven't, put
We didn't put one in there.
no,
And that's what I'm saying, that's why I wanted to go ahead and just go ahead and say on my end too, because I know we didn't put it in the budget.
right, yeah, when we did our budget last year, we did not account for,
So,
Why don't we, sorry.
would you rather just us board members take care of it then?
I mean, I feel like that's what we need to
we've
do.
done before.
I mean,
I'm
We-
good with that.
Or just take care of it like we did before. And then if they want drinks and that, they have to come out of their own pocket.
You good with that, Brenda?
Yeah, I think we should go together and pay
I mean, 'cause we don't need-
ourselves,
we didn't
and
even
then
do it.
there's no city
Yeah.
check written, that's
Right.
not in our budget.
Yeah, we can do that. So we'll do the
And
board
whoever
and then
wants to
department
contribute.
heads, if they want to.
Let's just say the board,
Chief already
Our-
said, yeah.
let's just put it in our hands and not even have to worry about it.
Okay.
Because it's not gonna be paid for by the city anyway, it'll be paid for by individuals.
Okay.
So,
Then
we
we
can
don't have any,
just, talk about a
constraints.
date that we would like to do, which
Yeah,
is
that
that
date.
would be December 11th.
Yeah, so he did December 11th because it's a slow date for him. That's a Wednesday and during the week, and it's, yeah, it's good for him. That way we're not taking away from his actual business, you know, so. December 11th, 7 works for your guys?
7 p.m.
So what? It's a Wednesday.
Is it okay with that?
So school.
7 good with you, or do you wanna do a little bit earlier? Bobby?
I'm fine.
I heard you down there saying something, I didn't know what
It's
it
a
was.
school night,
he's just having fun with tequila.
Brenda, that work for you? 7? Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, and we're just gonna put it in our hands. Okay. And then now I just wanted to go to 3B, which is time clocks and time change and comments. So I know that we were having problems with the time clocks for a little while. We were just there were so many different issues that we were having. I know Chief is still having a slight issue because of the Wi-Fi that's down there. But as far as times are concerned and actually clocking in and clocking out, I know we were having to make changes and we were having to do different things to correct everything. And I know Tracy, she was even having to do that a little bit as well. But at this point in time, we'd just like to go ahead and make sure that we're not making changes to times anymore. Now we're just gonna go ahead, there's a section that's on there where you can actually just make comments. So we're just gonna leave the time as it is, and if there's a change that needs to take place, just make a comment on the reason why that needs to be changed, instead of actually changing the time.
So that it can be.
Yep. So
Perfect.
that's all I really wanted to bring up about that. It wasn't really anything that needed to vote or anything like that, just something that I just wanted to tell you guys that that's what we're changing it to now. There's not gonna be any more of the trying to change things to fix it because the time clocks were messing up. We really need to start kind of moving forward a little bit with the point system. So, you know, if something is actually being abused, it needs to be addressed at this point in time. It's just that simple. So that's all I really wanted to say there. And then, so now we get to 3C, which is what we were talking about with the senior living. So I've already basically talked about it just briefly. We have had, actually, Tracy and Rachel have been receiving multiple phone calls from individuals saying it's not fair, it's this, it's that, and they don't understand why senior living has the 25%, why can't they have the 25%? I'm just putting it out there for my board, is what I'm doing at this point in time. Because complaints are being made. And I feel as though that you guys need to be well aware. It is completely up to you guys what you want to do at this point in time. It is something that multiple businesses and apartment owners and they're all just kind of coming at us now. So, because they want to receive the same 25%.
But you only have one non-profit,
Mm-hmm.
one non-profit.
Yeah.
We don't have some is, some aren't. We are 100% non-profit.
Yep.
But when you guys did this, not one of the planning and zoning, not one of the aldermen was aware of this. That in your own town, you had a senior citizen that was 100% non-profit. So where you all have failed from the get-go on not doing homework. But you do what you gotta do.
You can have a chance a moment, sir.
Stop the same thing.
So I just wanted to bring it to you because, like I said, we're receiving multiple complaints, and I felt as though that my board needed to be well aware of what was going on. I didn't know if you wanted to address the issue, if you didn't want to address the issue. I just wanted to let you know that we are receiving complaints. Chief Abernathy, please be quiet, sir.
How did everybody know?
Everybody know what? Honestly, I don't know, honey. All I know is she's getting complaints. So who's talking about what, I couldn't even begin to tell you, but they're the ones getting complaints. You tell me. I don't know. So would anybody like to speak about
Any other
this?
nonprofits, or are they half profit, profitable, anything like that?
The ones that are
And
coming
where's
to you, are they
your
non-profitable? Are they all businesses, the ones that are talking about it, that are wanting to have discounts?
It's mostly, the main complaints that we've had or concerns is going to be from our individuals, our seniors who are individuals, and we also have some seniors that have businesses that have concerns as well.
Okay.
And I can't name any names.
Right.
It has been.
And I don't expect you to.
Yeah, it's both.
Well,
And I don't know, Debbie, they're not,
There's nothing we can do, we're at your mercy, so.
they're not, what was it,
they're not for nonprofit.
yeah, they're not non-for-profit.
So that is one nonprofit place. We could do something in this town, it's something that would have to be discussed, you'd have to look at the budget for your senior citizens or lower income, et cetera, for discounts. But that would have to be across the board.
We have to be careful with that too, though, because we have that USDA loan that we're not supposed to be doing that.
Right.
See,
Because that has to be paid.
That is so misinterpreted.
That has to be
Correct.
paid.
That's not free. That is services
Well,
for your.
any services,
Ooh,
even though
no, it's not.
the whole service isn't free, but a portion of it is free. So
Alright.
we have to be real careful with that.
Well, you have to be careful, yes.
I work with USDA too.
Mhm.
We have a loan too.
Mhm. And you have to
And
make
I
sure that you
have
pay that
spoke
loan.
to them concerning your stuff, our stuff. This is not factual.
I
About,
have the contract right here.
you can read that contract, I could speak to those people that you got that's in charge of that now, and they don't say that.
Has it been amended?
Nothing's been amended except that we were considered a profitable business, even though that nobody in the city
So we
is
have to,
aware that.
we
they
do
had
have to
one-
stop the commenting, because actually right now it's a non-commenting section.
Yeah, I don't want.
So my concern is, do you want to do anything with this? Do you wanna go ahead and raise it to whatever, or do you wanna give discounts to everybody that's basically making a complaint? How
No.
do you want to handle this? This is my board right here.
No, but I think it deserves research on what could and couldn't be done legally, and
Well, what
we
can
started
be
the
done-
Dollar More program, but
When
That's
we
okay.
contacted the attorney about, which I did contact the attorney whenever we first did this, yes, please be quiet. When we first addressed it, we addressed it with the attorney,
Mhm.
and the attorney said that the contract states that we have to be able to pay our bills at all times.
correct.
So no matter what the means are, we have to make sure that we can pay the bills. That's it. That's all our requirements actually are, to make sure that we can pay the bills. So if things keep going up, prices of stuff keeps going up, and we can't pay that bill, that's on us.
Mhm.
So that's what we have to consider. And like I said, it's your guys' responsibility ultimately, because you're the board. So you guys have to make this ultimate decision on whether or not this is gonna be able to be paid out, or are you gonna be giving discounts to all seniors? Are you just, how do you guys want to handle this? It's completely up to you. I'm bringing it to you because I know that we're receiving complaints.
I'm sorry, but that could have been worded.
I'm sorry, sir, this is not a time for commenting. Thank you. Are we leaving it as it is? 'Cause I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. And Brenda, if you said you want to do a little research on it, please feel free to do some research on it, whatever it is that you
Well,
want to do.
it brings us back to our budget.
Well, our budget is still our horrible budget, and it's not gonna change that much, because we don't have that much funding coming in.
All right.
So, do we wanna go ahead and table that for now? I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. So do you guys just want some time to kind of think about it, or, but my thing is I don't wanna put, Debbie's over senior living, and she has a budget that she has to keep as well, and I wanna keep that in mind. So if we're gonna be raising it up 25% to get it back to normal, we really need to do this ahead of time, because she has a budget that she has to keep for her non-for-profit. So if we're gonna do that, please keep in mind that we need to do it quickly. It's not something that we need to, come January, let's just go ahead and do this. Well, that's not very fair to her.
No.
So I'm just gonna bring it out, and I'm just gonna state this, and if you guys don't wanna address it, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But please don't address it come January or February,
No,
whenever she's got a budget that she's gotta try to control.
I stand exactly where I did with it all along. That's the only non-for-profit housing we have in this town. They are all elderly and or disabled entirely. So I don't see where it's hard to explain that to people with complaints. Now, if we want to look at the budget, and if we can offer discounts to seniors and other disabled, that's an option, but not until we look at it. So that's what I'm throwing out here to discuss. To address the complaints, the problems that are coming to the office.
I don't think financially we're gonna be able to do it across the board just because of our last sewer rate study, but I do agree with Brenda that we can research it a little bit more, so I'd say for now, we table it.
Research it.
We research it over the next month, because if for some reason it does go up, we do need to give that due diligence with time
Absolutely.
to work that out.
Yes.
So yeah, we can table it, we can research it over the next month, we can get with you guys in reference to those sewer rate studies and all that stuff, that way we're we're more prepared for it,
Yeah,
and we have more of a definite number.
let's just go ahead and do that then. And then that way, like I said, but anything that you guys decide to do, let's just please try to do it and try to be timely, especially for them with their budget. Okay? I don't wanna, like I said, it'd be January or February and then she can't do anything with that. Okay, so let's go to new business, and this is going to be the water department report. Ms. Shockley?
So it looks like, we sold for the period $85,021.94. We received from September 1st through September 30th, $69,382.42. We collected $156.51 for late fees, $452.53 on reconnect, $57.42 on DNR sewer connection fees, and $452.53 on water primacy fees. We did not collect any deposits for commercials or residentials, and no streetlights were reported.
Thank you. Okay, and then next on our list is PD monthly report. Chief, you're up.
Car 102 is back in service. We were waiting on suspension components for 104, which I saw actually had shown up, so we'll be getting that done, but that car is still in service. Dispatch has started using a new CAD system, which actually interfaces with the police department's report management system, so now it actually feeds a lot of the information into our report system, which saves our officers time on doing the reports. The flip side of that is our dispatch is having some issues with the CAD system on running reports, so I don't have a calls for service log from last month. As soon as I get that, I will send it to the board so they can disseminate it as they see fit. That's all I've got for open session.
I apologize. Car 102, what was needed for that?
That needed a new transaxle and a rack and pinion, and then 104 needed control arms and a window motor.
Thank you.
And then next, we're gonna move to Public Works report, which is Jeremy, but I know he's not here, so Ms. Shockley?
So it starts off with, he said that MoDOT has started on the repair and maintenance of the drainage on Main Street. The wastewater treatment facility permit through DNR is in process of being renewed. The treatment facility is scheduled for its DNR inspection on October 30th at 10:30 a.m. The extension request needed for the DR 4490 Missouri COVID reimbursement has been submitted to SEMA and FEMA with an explanation on why the project was not submitted by the deadline, which was needed and given. He is still waiting for available dates to schedule the TCLP samples needed for the Southwest Business Park sand filter to vacate the permit. And he has been working with the gentleman who owns the Hillside Manor, and he wants to talk to the board about seeing if the city is willing to assist and fund half the cost to convert the Hillside Manor over from a single main water meter to replacing all the meters to the radio read meters at each resident, which would put each individual resident on their own bill. This has been an ongoing discussion with the property owner. He is going to do it most likely either way. However, he is wondering if the city would cover half the cost for the meters. The cost for 14 radio meters is $4,900 for the meter head. So he's asking if we would consider splitting that with him. And that's it.
On the drainage on Main Street?
Yes.
Could we look at cleaning those ditches that it's gonna run to? They're overgrown badly. Trees are growing in there and that it catches things, backs it up, so it won't matter how good that drain is.
And
Thank
then the three-way signs, there by the auction place, you come up the hill, the
Yes.
three-way sign portions are so big that you can't.
And that's at what's the intersection?
Um,
Elm and Third, okay.
Does anybody want to discuss that, actually, what he was bringing up? No, I mean, I know that's not really, yeah. I'll bypass that one.
What was that, I'm sorry?
We're gonna bypass that one.
Okay, all right, so, okay.
So planning and zoning, Ms. Karen Cantor, you're up.
So Tuesday evening this past week, we held a public hearing and special meeting. We had 25 plus in attendance. It was regarding a proposed project for a water 3D treatment plant in Winfield. There was a lot of good questions and a lot of concerns voiced with individuals. Also in attendance were, from Lincoln County, Julie Rogers, our economic director. And then tonight we have from Lincoln County, the emergency management director, Quentin Lewis. And then also from Corcoran Engineering, Dave Van Leer. And also one of the commissioners from Lincoln County, Joe Kyman. Tonight, if he can, Chief Aaron Lee will be also from the fire department attending. One of the things that Jeremy Blythe, who is the public works administrator, he typed up something that he asked that I read to the board. To board following, it is the commission and public works recommendation with a unanimous vote to proceed forward with the rezoning of a portion of the property located on Kitson Road in the city of Winfield to be zoned industrial for the purpose of a proposed freshwater treatment facility on the contingent of moving the boundaries of the lines further from Greater Owl's Way cul-de-sac and or increase the buffer zone. The county is working on either the purchase of more land to achieve this, which would be north, and or sorry, I'm trying to read this, or the parcel further north. Jeremy will also be working with them closely, and I also included this in your packet, the full letter. So I know that you have this on the agenda later, but I just wanted to introduce this all to you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes. And that is something that we'll talk about in a little bit more extensively towards the end. Was there anything else, Karen? Okay. And then now I just wanted to briefly kind of let my board know what's going on with this crosswalk. As we are getting busier and more populated off of Highway 47, to be completely honest with you, we have our public works, Robbie, he's the one that actually does the crosswalk. He's been hit, almost hit multiple times. He says it's nothing for him about 3 or 4 times a day to have a close call. He says he's very concerned about the children mostly, because in his eyes, like he said, he can't tell you how many times a kid drops a paper, pen, cell phone, whatever. What's the very first thing that they think to do? Turn around and grab it.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody's rolling through a stop sign, or because he's holding a stop sign and they're just kind of casually rolling through, well, if a kid's bent down, guess what's going to happen? And he is really scared for that. I have addressed this issue with the newer attorney that we have, and his associate actually is kind of involved in some of this stuff already. So she's going to look into that. Y'all know that we have this contract that's an open-ended contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting too dangerous at this point. So there's got to be something we are going to have to probably be working with MoDOT at some point in time to figure out some kind of resolution, whether it's up and over
or there's a light, or something that makes people stop.
It's an open-ended contract with MoDOT?
Yes. And we have to
Oh, yeah,
figure that
it's
out.
fine then.
And we can actually get that to you as well,
Please.
Brenda, if you wanna take a peek at that. Because we're having the attorneys look at it as well. So, 'cause to me, it's ridiculous that my employee and the children are having to cross a highway that is that busy now. So there's no light, there's no nothing. It's literally just a guy standing there with a stop sign that's just kind of flashing. And whether or not they choose to actually do anything about it. So I have asked my police officers to please really start manning this for me and taking care of this for me. And that's what they've decided to do to help out. Because Robbie says, when they are there, it does kind of slow down a little bit, not as much, it's not as crazy. It still happens, but not as much. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a heads up that there might be some point in time that we might be dealing with MoDOT on this.
Did MoDOT put those flashing lights in?
I think it was MoDOT that initially put those flashing lights in. Whenever they put the sidewalk in, I believe is when they did that, right? Isn't that when they did that? And they put that crosswalk right in?
Yeah, it was close within, I think it was probably within about 8 months of.
Because I thought that was part of it. When they had the sidewalks, that was kind of part of it, is that we were gonna man that crosswalk. So, and it's open-ended, and that's why I said, now we're doing all this, and it's getting very busy now, so. Please no talking. Yes.
So I sit on the Lincoln County Transportation Advisory Committee to MoDOT. And we have a list, as you know, of projects we put on there. If the city, if you have ideas of what you need to see there, we can add this onto what is a task list. That list is then compiled with part of 3 counties, and then we score that.
I did do this probably about 4 years ago. I did this.
Okay.
And I asked for a stoplight to be put at the fire hall, which is right across from the school. Please refrain. And I had asked specifically to have a stoplight there that would work for the fire department and would also work for the school, that we could move that crosswalk. It was denied. And I'm not gonna tell you the reason why it was denied, but it was very sad, the reason why it was denied.
Okay.
So if there's something that you can do.
Let's follow up.
Yes, please, let's
Mayor,
do it, yeah.
Let's have another meeting after this, and that's when I can talk about how maybe we can get that on the list, get it scored appropriately, where they've at least start taking some look. That is the way that MoDOT says they do projects, is through these TAC committees.
Okay.
47 interchange that was through that process of the stuff. So let's.
Yeah, it's a highly dangerous area, so yeah, I definitely want to.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Thank you.
And then I just wanted to basically let you guys know that I am not, which I think you guys may already know this, but I just wanted to make it known, there's no overtime right now at all. And we're keeping down, any time, like, I'm not even really, if there's comp time and overtime for police officers, if they're on a call and they need to finish their call, of course, okay? And then I do have, like, Billy, every Saturday, he has to go and check up there at the sewer?
Yes.
So, and he's been doing that for years, so I'm allowing that to happen as well. That's it. So, we're keeping comp time down to a pretty strong minimum. As you know, it's been known to to move up on some of the employees. I've asked them to please take their vacation time, burn up some of their comp time, all that good, wonderful stuff, and that's what they've been doing. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up and let you know what was going on there. That's pretty much all I really have on my end. So now we will move forward with 4G. Let me follow my notes here. And this is concerning the Public Works admin job description, the ad that we're putting in for this. So do you have that, Rachel?
I do. And I think I gave everybody a copy of it as well. So I just kind of put together just a very quick gist of what the administrator position would look like. And then we also added a few things at the bottom, because before Jeremy left today, he read it over, and he added some things to this that would be necessary for whoever this candidate would be. They would also need to they would also have to know that they would be the floodplain management and mitigation. Mm-hmm. They would need to have knowledge and understanding of NFIP, which is basically flood insurance. They would have to understand all of that. They would have to understand the ability understand and have the ability, to work with SEMA and FEMA, because there would be a lot of dealings with them. And they would need to, be ICS and NIMS certified in incident command and have history and knowledge of all of that kind of stuff as well. Jeremy is currently certified in all of these things.
Yeah.
But anyway, those were just a few more things that he wanted to add on there, but he said that, if you guys wanted to, we could sit down together, him and I, and go over kind of a more efficient and kind of just everything that we're looking for.
Yeah. Because Ron, I know you weren't, were you, did you, okay, yeah.
I was here for the regular meeting.
I'm sorry, I don't, yeah, I did.
I couldn't get close.
So, we were talking that we really need to have, like, the way that it's kind of going right now really isn't working out the best in the world, but we kind of knew that that was really gonna kind of take place. We just needed somebody to kind of help us out with Public Works, right? So, we really can't afford to have a director, and we know that because of our budget.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had talked about having an administrator, which basically could oversee a lot, help out with our, Public Works guys. Our Public Works guys, we all know, are pretty self-sufficient for the most part. But he would also keep up on the certifications and keep up on the employee certifications and all that kind of stuff. So there is a little bit of qualifications that are required for this particular position. And I would actually, we've been going without one for quite some time, and we really honestly, we can't keep going without a Public Works, at least administrator. So we had talked about getting one in here come January, and at least put the posting out there and try to get some applications. So that's what we're doing at this point, Brenda, is we're just trying to make a posting for this, just to see what we can actually bring in.
Okay.
And then at that point in time, we'll start looking into that. But we would like to start that up come January if we can, just because it really does need to happen, to be completely honest with you. So.
And then you guys could,
look over this and then make any
and
changes.
add things
Yep.
or change it or whatever, whatever you guys think it needs to say or be.
But I would like to get that probably going, I would say probably at least by next month, to at least get it posted. Just simply that gives us some time, because I know a lot of times people are having a hard time getting people to apply for jobs. So,
yeah, I would say at least 2 meetings to review resumes and discuss them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Before we look at him.
Yeah.
At least.
Mm-hmm. So, we wanted to bring that one up. Next on the agenda is 4H, which is the update for Nicole to reference, First Mid. So, you're up.
Real quick,
Yes.
Bobby said something?
Oh, the add the resolution?
Yeah.
So I'm way off. Okay, so 4G actually, so that was 4H.
Yeah.
4G was the dispensary.
So Rachel, do you just want to switch
Do a switch.
G and H?
So I made
For your
4G the Public Works Administration
Yeah.
job description. And then 4H, we're gonna make the resolution to the annex property.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Okay, so this is just a resolution basically stating that that when the property, okay, so it's a description on here, let's double check that first, make sure you have the description on
The
here.
description is on there, yes.
Okay. So as you look, actually, we can just read this out if you want. So, this is just for the dispensary, so it'll have like the description and everything in here. So I will entertain a motion to read this resolution for the first time in its entirety, so everybody can read this or hear this. And all we're doing is just annexing this into the city.
So moved.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Reese,
Aye.
Alderman Riskowski,
Aye.
Alderman Sargent,
Aye.
and Alderman Hanson. All right, resolution of intent to annex. In the matter of the proposed annexation of certain unincorporated territory to the city of Winfield, whereas the city of Winfield, Missouri desires to adjust its corporate limits so as to annex certain unincorporated territory to the municipality, and whereas said real estate as hereinafter described is adjacent to the present corporate limits and contiguous and compact to the present corporate limits of the city of Winfield, Missouri, and whereas a public hearing shall be held concerning this matter, and this public hearing shall be held at the City Hall in Winfield, Missouri, at which time the annexation shall be considered and any objections heard. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Winfield, Missouri, that the city declares its intent to annex the following described unincorporated area to the corporate limits of the City of Winfield, Missouri, beginning at a point on the south line of the right-of-way of State Highway number 47 at the northwest corner of a tract of land conveyed to Jack Jones and wife by Albert Beckemeyer and wife by warranty deed dated July 28, 1955, and recorded in the Recorder's Office of Lincoln County, Missouri, in Book 200 at page 57, thence in a southwesterly direction along and with the south line of the right-of-way of State Highway number 47 to the northeast corner of a tract of land conveyed to Odell Langston and wife by Albert Beckemeyer and wife by warranty deed dated August 9, 1952, and recorded in the Recorder's Office of Lincoln County, Missouri, in Book 188 at page 604, thence in a southerly direction along and with the east line of said tract conveyed to Odell Langston and wife as aforesaid, to the southeast corner of said tract conveyed to Odell Langston and wife as aforesaid, thence in a northeasterly direction along and with the southeast line of a tract of land conveyed to Albert Beckemeyer and wife by Lucas C. Bickle and wife by warranty deed dated August 9, 1952, and recorded in Recorder's Office of Lincoln County, Missouri, in Book 192 at page 596, in the southwest corner of said tract conveyed to Jack Jones and wife, as aforesaid, thence in a northerly direction along and with the west line of said tract conveyed to Jack Jones and wife, as aforesaid, to the place of beginning, and beginning a part of Lot 3 of the William McClay Estate and a part of the tract of land conveyed to Albert Beckemeyer and wife by Louis C. Bickle and wife, as aforesaid, all in U.S. Survey number 295, Township 49 North, Range 2 East of the 5th PM, subject to easements, conditions, restrictions, building lines, zoning ordinances, and any other restrictions of record. Passed and adopted by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Winfield, Missouri, this 10th day of October, 2024.
That's a whole lot of information for an address. Okay, so, at this point, I would, entertain a motion to, yeah,
Can I read a
to
title?
have a second reading by
Title?
title only. I'm not gonna make her read that whole.
So moved.
thing all over.
Thank you.
Second.
Who's second? I'm
Second.
You. Okay. Roll call. Alderman Roskowski,
Aye.
Alderman Sergeant,
Aye.
Alderman Hanson,
Aye.
Alderman Reed.
Aye.
Resolution of intent to annex. In the matter of the proposed annexation of certain unincorporated territory to the city of Winfield. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to approve this resolution of intent to annex.
So moved.
Alderman Sergeant,
Aye.
Alderman Hanson,
Aye.
Alderman Reed,
Aye.
Alderman Roskowski.
Aye.
Okay, now we will move with 4I, which is you're updating about first.
Yes, so me, Rachel, and Tracy had a quick meeting the other day with Nicole from First Mid, just reference to our accounts, our collateral. the regulations are changing how the collateral works, so we just touched base with that. And then also at the same time, we switched 3 more of our accounts over to money market accounts. What was the one, 2.5%?
Yes.
And that was our general, right?
Correct.
So our general is now gonna be a 2.5%, and then we have 2 other ones that are just at 0.5%. But now all of our accounts are money market accounts. So those accounts will have interest accruing as well, going into the reserve. So.
Alright, sounds great, thank you.
Can we backtrack a little bit?
Yep.
Reference the, annex, proposition or the, intent to annex.
Intent, yes.
Do we want to set a date for the public hearing?
I don't think we wanna do that just yet, do we? I don't think he's ready for that yet.
Well, that, and they still,
Cause it's still gotta go through DHS.
through P&D as
Through
well.
P&D. So
Okay.
we're gonna,
This
this
is
is just
initial.
the intent,
Okay.
and then when he's ready, cause it hasn't even truly honestly even like gone through the works yet, cause he still has to go through planning and zoning.
Okay, gotcha.
and all
I just
that
wanna make
stuff.
sure that we
Yeah.
didn't need to.
Yeah, this was just to say, hey, you know what, when the time's ready, we do have intent to do so,
Okay.
okay? So, next on our agenda is 4J, which is, let me get my stuff straight here, the Boy Scouts fundraiser and, Market on Main. So, you wanna go ahead and elaborate on that just
Sure.
a little bit?
So basically, the leader reached out and wanted to know if, he could use the Market on Main area down there to set up some tables and have a fundraiser selling, packaged coffee and packaged popcorn. And I told him that I did not think that there would be a problem with that, but that I wanted to make sure that you guys were okay with that. And I also told him that, since it was for the Boy Scouts, that we would consider waiving any fees that we would normally charge.
And to be honest with you guys, I don't have any problem with that.
No, he did that for Light Up Winfield too, we let him come down there, because there was celebrating at Christmas time, so.
Is everybody else kind of on board with that too?
Mm-hmm. Should they have a
Okay.
date on?
It was going to be, it's this month, I think it's the 19th on a Saturday? I think it was the 19th.
Yes.
Okay, I think it was the 19th, if I remember correctly. And I'll make sure that, well, I won't have to, because, Nicole will do it anyway, but we'll put it on there. We'll make sure and put it on Facebook and on our website so that everybody will know that. Well, that's true, yeah. Well, I think the water bill's gonna come, it'll come out, after that, yeah. But we'll see.
Okay. So we got that?
Yep.
All right, so then we move with 4K, which is, the county commissioner, EMA director, and economic development to assist in understanding the zoning and project. So, is there anything that you guys would actually like to bring up or like to talk about, or, I know that things have kind of come up, so,
Yeah.
If anybody would, either one of you would like to address. I know that we already had our public hearing. I do know that they were talking about bringing questions to you. Were those questions?
Today we received those.
Today you received.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons,
Go ahead.
yeah. And one of the reasons I brought Clinton, because there were some really great questions, that were asked the other night. And some of those, involve, concerns with safety, public safety, things like that. That's why we asked Quentin Sloss, who's the county emergency management director, to attend with us. He's got a lot of knowledge in a lot of this area, and we thought maybe he could help answer some of those questions. We did receive those questions in written form today. Thanks for everybody who submitted those, to put this together. So with that, Quentin can answer any of those specifically you all may have.
Yes.
And Dave Van Leer, the engineer from Cochran Engineering, is here. And Dave had actually done quite a bit of work based on some of the requests in the discussion from the other night.
Okay.
So I didn't know if he did a lot of follow-up on
Okay.
some of that. So I don't know if he wanted to make.
I'm perfectly,
Start.
we have a lot of concern that's here.
Sure.
So I am very comfortable with you guys talking about whatever it is that needs to be talked about, because there were a lot of concerns last night. I personally had a couple of questions as well. So one of my questions was, and I don't know how far you are into this. So, which I think the engineer is probably gonna talk about some of
That's what I'm
it.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Maybe one.
Let's wait for my questions, because you guys might actually
You might
answer them.
answer this question,
Yep.
so.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give you does anybody have a microphone or anything like that?
Right here.
Or can you just speak loud enough that everybody can hear you?
I'm fine with speaking loud if that's okay with
I'm
everybody
okay.
else.
It's up to you, if you're.
If I'm talking too loud, tell me that.
Okay. So I do not, like I said, we had just a ton of questions, a ton of different concerns. We thought we might have something that might have been maybe a slight resolution, or at least something that might actually help out, and that's why I would like to find out.
So as Julie said, we're definitely working on, addressing some of those concerns, and that requires some going back and forth with the potential seller on this property. We have went out and looked at more of the property to try and determine if it's an option to utilize more of the property or a different area of the property that would address some of those concerns. Is it okay if I?
You're more than welcome to, yeah,
give a few
whatever it
handouts?
is. Because like I said, there were a ton of concerns, so whatever you want to do to help us out, I am perfectly happy with that.
So I thought it might also help, this is a actual picture of a water treatment plant that was recently built in Rawls County.
Okay?
Again, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what this type of facility would look like.
Yeah, Rachel, you want to take a copy of this and give us out? Because I know the meeting's listed for us, I'd like them to be
If you guys wanna put
informed as well.
one of yours down.
So I felt like aesthetics was certainly one of the things that was being discussed and, one of the concerns. I think this is a nice, well-maintained facility, so I thought
Is this basically what you guys are kind of looking at, you think?
it would be a similar facility, yes.
Okay.
A similar facilities to what you're seeing here. There was also a fair amount of, comments and questions with regard to noise and odor.
Yeah.
So I contacted two cities that we work with, the city of Ellsbury and the city of St. Genevieve. I contacted the city clerk and city administrator at those cities and just posed the question of if they receive complaints from citizens regarding noise and odor, and both responded no. And then you also see that aerial images of the towns are included, and both of these plants are right in the middle of town. Surrounded by the rest of the city. So I was hoping that just, more so than just me standing here telling you these types of facilities don't receive complaints from citizens, actually hearing that from people who run these cities who have these types of plants, that these types of facilities don't generate complaints from citizens.
Especially from senators who are not afraid to voice their opinion.
Yeah, even went a little farther, giving you some more information there. So again, just felt like that was relevant. I felt like a lot of the comments the other night were kind of comparing this to a wastewater treatment facility, which could bring a totally different stigma and group of concerns. Typically, these types of facilities aren't that impactful to the community. They're not looked at as dangerous facilities. I feel like there was a lot of concern regarding safety. I know there were questions asked about safety and how things would be handled. Part of the reason that's hard to answer right off the cuff is here's just a kind of a quick printout of some documents I can grab that govern how these type of facilities would be designed and the specific safety requirements. This information right here is mostly specific to chlorine and how it would be handled. These are the documents that DNR has that list all the design requirements that we as the engineer have to implement, and then also the OSHA, all the OSHA requirements which govern how the operators have to operate this facility. So those are all the documents that would address that.
And those have monthly inspection type things also, the way our sewer plant does, and I'm assuming
Yes.
that the water quality is, okay.
Can I interject real quick? That is also where the emergency management office and our local fire department would also come into play, correct?
Yes.
Because the county doesn't have planning and zoning, you guys do. But Quentin, you do have oversight in these types of, especially where there's storage of chemicals. Maybe
Yeah.
you can.
So the size that we're talking about, they would be what's called a tier 2 report. You have different tiers, but tier 2 is the exact same as your gas stations here in town. It goes by the weight or the quantity of toxic hazardous chemicals in the store. And so in order for them to operate anytime, they have to be reporting to my office. Twice a year, I get reports on exactly how much chemicals they have, where they're stored, if they've had any problems, things like that. And then they actually pay a fee to the state that actually comes back to us through the LAPD, which is the Local Emergency Planning District, or it used to be called LAPC. And that's all done for hazardous materials training, firefighting equipment, response training for the police officers. So the county would actually become a tier 2 reporting system, or whoever, I don't know if the county itself, but whoever we decide to run it will become a tier 2 reporting system. The largest issue with drinking water treatment, obviously, is the chlorine.
Right.
And so it's a heavier than air gas. So if it does leak, it pools in low places. It generally never makes it. If it does leak, it never makes it out of the actual facility, generally speaking. So threats or anything like that to the general public is way lower than even your gas stations. You have a tier 1. You actually have a tier 1 in your town. It's the railroad.
Yeah.
So approximately 4 to 5 times a day, you have a tier 1 potential all the time here. So
Right.
this is this is way lower than living next to the railroad.
Thank you. Sorry, you guys, I
That's great.
thought this is where Quentin could, share a little bit of information. Which, thank you, I need to know all that.
Now, so, some of the questions, and I think I know the answer, but I don't know for sure, so I'm gonna ask. Kitson Road. They were talking about their roads being destroyed by trucks and movement and all kinds of stuff, right? Kitson Road is actually owned by the county. And so it is maintained and will continue to be maintained by the county.
Correct, and actually, I think it was last year, the county went in at the county's expense and actually improved and paved Kitson Road.
Right.
For when there was discussion about some other developments coming in, and the city worked with the county and then to pave and improve that road. So we already have improved it, we will continue to maintain it. So any damage that is done to that would be on the county. 47 is a major road, it's constructed to handle heavy traffic, so once again, in MoDOT, we keep up with that. The county works very closely with MoDOT, so, there wouldn't be any trucks, anything on these two streets, so. Any, during the construction phase, any cost would accrue directly back to the county.
Okay. And then when you had talked about the possibility of moving the plant just a little bit further away for the individuals, have you taken a look at that property to see if that is a possibility?
Yes, I actually walked it. I tried to walk some of that today. It's very thick.
Yes.
It's difficult to really tell what you're walking through at times. It's going to take us a little bit of time to determine.
Well, I know that we had talked about, so when we were in our discussion, we had talked about that you guys really needed like 5 acres, like good solid 5 acres, but you wanted to have the other acreage for just all the earth movement and everything that was going to be taking place. So what I was wanting to know was, because even if it's 10 acres, if we could, and I'm not saying into the tree line per se, because I know that that's on the northern side of that, is that kind of like that, the tree, and then the runoff is all right there up in the northern side up there. But if we could, since you're only needing like 10 acres, I was just wanting to know if there was that possibility to push it away from the homes just a little bit further, because that 20 acres is quite a bit. I'm not saying we have to be right on that line over here up north, but if we could just somehow get it out of their backyard, per se, and what that distance might look like.
So I think that's probably the key to this, is trying to figure out what's acceptable distance that we would have to plant away from the Great Elm area there. One thing I would like to clarify, when we spoke of the smaller area needed for the plant, that also would probably be looking at a flat piece of property.
Okay.
If we had a flat piece of property, we need less room to do
And I
that.
haven't seen that terrain to actually see exactly where the flat area actually
There's
would
not
be.
much of it that's flat. It's a lot of relief, a lot of up and down, a lot of hills.
He said on that northern side, I know he said that there was quite a bit.
Yeah, there's kind of a larger drainage ditch
That's
that kind of runs right through the middle of that, so that's part also trying to see if there's a way we can kind of use part of it that's across the drainage and keep part of it on this side, so that, it's gonna take us a little bit of time to figure out if that's an option, but it's certainly something we're looking at.
Okay. And then, what else was I gonna ask? Oh, so I know that, and this was something that you and I had actually been talking about. So I did have the opportunity to kind of talk with the owner just a little bit. And I know we had initially thought that was gonna be like a really huge, like, subdivision. And that all I can really say honestly is that he wants to keep that area residential, yes, that's going around that. He wants to keep all that residential, because I know that was your concern. You said it was gonna be industrial, that's the case. But subdivision, like tight subdivision, like our subdivision, is really not going to be the game plan, I don't think. But it is gonna remain residential. So just so you guys know, and he has the right to sell his property and do whatever he wants to do with his property as far as that's concerned, as long as he keeps it residential.
May I share?
Yes.
I spoke with him earlier today. He did call my office, and he allowed me to share a little bit of our conversation. Some of the lots you can see on there that are carved out.
Yes.
That is where he and his family
Yes.
will live.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is very close to that plant
He's
as well.
gonna be the closest person to this plant, and the one lot is for him and the other is for his family members. He has no plans to sell off the rest of that and create a large residential development.
Right.
They have, originally, a couple of years ago, that was a
Right.
plan, but
Yep.
it's been
He's
changed to the
changed.
family,
Yep.
to them. And this is his goal now. He's got an idea or two, but none of that involve anything that's industrial or a big residential development.
No, yeah, that's how he had explained it to me as
Pretty much
well.
wants to make it kind of a family compound and is allowing us to purchase this property for the betterment. He understands that we are trying to create good quality water for the area.
Right.
And that's why he's allowing us to do that. So we're not losing out on a very large development. And those were his words, and he allowed me to share that here tonight.
Now, my question for you is, because I know that we have had multiple meetings prior to all this, and then I couldn't get to those meetings, and I've lost out on about a year or so. But when we first got started and I was able to make those meetings, I know you had talked about, you guys were working on getting a very large grant for this. So one of the questions that was asked to me as well, and I'm like, I don't have the answer to this, so I'm just gonna ask you, Julie. Because we're at the forefront of this, so in order for us to tap into this and to be part, to get this water, is there gonna be an expense on our end, even though we're giving 20 acres of city area? Is there going to be a large expense for that, for us to tap into this water system?
No, this allows, so $30 million is coming from the state of Missouri to fund this project. The county has to match it with a 25% match. We have $10 million we've committed to it that came from ARPA funds, from the federal dollars that came through a couple of years ago. A lot of counties spend it different ways. Our commissioners said they wanted to spend it on infrastructure that would benefit everybody long term. We know that good quality water is one of the biggest issues Lincoln County has. It really is. There's others, but that's one of the top ones. So they've committed to this project. All this does is put the foundational pieces in for us to tap in for wells into the alluvial aquifer down there. Basically, you're getting water that would pipe up to a treatment plant. The water then can then be sold to whoever needs it, whether it is the city of Winfield, if you choose to go back in the water business, or PWSD1, or Ellsbury if they need it, or wherever that may be. But there's no additional expense for you to set up the foundational piece. If you buy water, that's the only time that there's gonna be a cost, which is gonna be a pass-through cost.
Okay.
So it's a bigger foundational piece, I guess is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of the keystone of, building the future for quality water. Because it's challenging. If you go north, you guys, I don't know how bad it is here, but if you go north of Highway 47, you can't get good water. There's so many radionuclides and DNR and EPA, it's just made it more restrictive. It's almost impossible. And I will say Danny Flynn, who drove all the wells in Lincoln County, has said for a long time, go to the river, get the water there, and there's Olivia wells. That's the best place.
He was talking about that before.
He's been talking about that. And there's others who understand this industry, Paul Mueller, who's up in Ellsbury, he used to work for DNR. He's been saying for years, that's the best place for Lincoln County to get it. It also allows us, the county, and those of us here in the county, control of our water, because there were some other districts outside of Lincoln County that said, we'll sell you water. That's fine, but then they're in charge of the rates and the capacity, and they have complete control. And we felt like, the commissioners felt that it was very important that we retained control of our own destiny, of our own water, of our own infrastructure. So that is why we are where we are.
And another question so with you getting a grant that is that large, I know that, like, we have our grant here for our sewer plant. We are unable to sell, so we have to maintain control over our sewer. Is it going to be Lincoln County that is going to be over this permanently because of a grant? Or do you have the capability to sell? How is that actually working out? And are you thinking like maybe PWSD, or are you just wanting to keep it in Lincoln County? Or what's the view on that one as well?
So, and as you know, I think we first attended some of those meetings. We talked about this a little bit the other night. We went to form a JMOC, Joint Utilities, I think, Commission. Yeah, thank you. It's honor, all those government things. Clarence Cannon is a commission and stuff, and they serve water to a lot of areas. What this JMOC would be is anybody who wants to participate. City of Winfield, PWSD 1, City of Ellsbury, PWSD 212, everybody would have a seat on this board. And they would have the ownership of this infrastructure. And then all decisions for the growth or the expansion or where it would be made through this commission. So so you're having voices from the entire county region, and sometimes they're bigger, like Clarence Cannon is, I don't know how many counties, it's a lot. The beauty of that is it allows the commission to borrow funds for expansion, for growth, and the cost then is shared with everybody. So if you have a smaller city like Winfield and you need to do infrastructure improvements, the entire burden isn't going to be on you. It helps make the cost to your citizens, to everybody, a little bit more evenly based. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of communities do that, because especially in rural areas, you've got small cities. And when you have to put a system in, it doesn't care that you only have 500 citizens, or 50,000, the cost is still the same.
Yeah.
But you have less people to share that cost. So that is why we've been working very hard to get that JMOC together. But it's complicated, it takes a little while to do. We had a short time frame and we have to spend this money, so at this time the county commissioners said, we're gonna move forward, the county will own this until we can get this bigger thing fixed. That right now, that's the plan. They would love to see a JMOC, we would love to see collaboration. When we've had these meetings, we've had representation from all over the county, and even that collaboration has been really beneficial, because they've been able to talk and share resources. I think we all do better when we all work together.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I really hated, was I wasn't able to participate in those, because those were very beneficial. And does anybody here on this board have any questions?
Yes. When we do water rate studies for our city, and they decide that the population has grown and they all have a lot of income, and then they spread that back out, how's this gonna work at the county level for everybody?
So you're talking for loans, you're going through.
Talking about rates that your people are, if they're hoping that they're gonna have to pay.
We will not. So we would simply we'd be a wholesaler at this point. So we would sell to you. So what you're doing would stay the same. You probably will not.
Stay the same, basically
Yeah,
how PWSD is for us right now? Basically?
Well,
Yes, it
you know,
sounds like it.
I think the other night I kind of presented a scenario where things stayed the way they are now, where you would continue purchasing
Right.
If
So
the
that could help
plant,
out by residents as well.
if the plant's halfway across the county,
Mhm.
then a pipeline has to get built all the way back from the plant, back to Winfield, to get treated water to you.
Okay.
So that is just something to consider, and I think that's probably a benefit of having the plant near Winfield that I didn't bring up the other night.
Okay.
That I do think would be a benefit to you.
It's an option.
As far as, I think typically a wholesale rate would be developed, and that would be the same for all customers. And that would be, whether it's Winfield or PWSD1 or, City of Troy, Moscow Mills, everybody pays whatever the wholesale per 1,000 gallon rate is.
And these types of facilities, what are the current, water tests coming back as? How are those looking? The water quality?
This is a new water source, and that was what the treatment plant would do. I mean,
Right, but reverse osmosis, we're not going with that, and I'm not sure why I haven't been included in any of these meetings, so I don't know why we're not
Oh,
going
we
to
had a
that.
public hearing. It was actually a public hearing.
Right.
And they were all there.
No, I understand this week, but I'm just, if you're saying there's been a year's worth of meetings, I'm just curious how they got
On the county level, not.
to this.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay,
say,
okay.
No, it's just the county.
How we got-
decided, like,
We
just
started in the
there.
very beginning.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the treatment facility that you've chosen for this, why is it not reverse osmosis? Is that just way too expensive to look at because the particulates that are in our water now?
I can answer part of that.
Thank you.
So for instance, we just declared, I guess a year ago now, we declared a disaster for Sci-Fi,
Mm-hmm.
because they had radionuclides.
Yes.
So we had DNR, we come out, we had the U.S. Geological Service come out here. We don't have those problems down here in the river. That's where these alluvial wells are. We have almost endless supply of water down there. Radionuclides come from when the water basically seeps through our
Okay.
limestone rocks.
Okay.
The radiation that's contained in those rocks basically comes into the water.
All right, well, I'm dumb on this, so thank you.
Sure, and I didn't know this either. I learned this when so,
We're learning a lot, actually.
there's no way to take those other than a reverse osmosis
Mhm.
system.
They need to speak up, those people in the back.
Here, let me give this to you.
So there's other than reverse osmosis system. The problem with the reverse osmosis system is it requires a whole other level of certification.
Mhm.
It requires a whole other level of reporting.
But you're saying if we're bringing it in from alluvial floodplain, we're not getting those
We don't have to
particulates
worry
that
about
come
that.
from our plastics and our,
Correct.
okay.
Because the river's going great at filtering things underneath of that, the
Mhm.
sand and salt and everything like that. It looks brown to us on the top, but
Right.
the underneath of it, it's actually,
Okay.
you know.
That's
we're
very
brave enough to
encouraging.
drain it straight.
That's
You
very
know?
encouraging from what I came here with, yeah.
Right. And the reverse osmosis also requires, there is, some runoff, or I don't know exactly the term of it is, but when we do reverse osmosis, we have to have some place to go with that
Right.
contamination. Where with this way, there is none of that.
Okay,
We simply treat it here and it's shipped out.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I will hold it.
Yeah, I did.
And I normally wouldn't do this, because I know that we have to basically make a, entertain, motion to kind of move forward with this.
Mhm.
But I do know that I have two individuals that do have concerns concerning this. Normally, we wouldn't go to it because that's the next section before we actually decide to do that. But I would like to go ahead and just give them the opportunity to speak prior to, so then that way, now it's only 3 minutes, guys, I can't go any further than that, so
Where's the
it's
gentleman?
not gonna be a real long conversation. But I can give you 3 minutes to have the floor. The very first one is Keith Abernathy.
Hello, I'm Keith Abernathy. I heard about your project. And I also, with the sidewalk project, with the police officers, had to go over and out because our guard officer getting hit. I was a board member of the city of Winfield at that time. I was on that project. We presented to the state to try to get a traffic light. Some people wanted to go over, the state said no. Wanted to go under, the state said no. We did what we could do to save them out. That was a government project. And the whole time I was an alderman, the city of Winfield never did do traffic control there. Apparently now you do.
Yeah.
So if you need any help with that, I'd be more than sit down and talk with you all of that. As far as your project, it's a bad idea. I like it. I like better water. I live in Ward 1. Some of these people live I'm here looking for the future of our town. Our town wants to grow, first of all. And we need industry, yes, but we don't need a water plant up there right now, because our town can only go one, it's cop blocked. Can't go that way, we can't go that way, and we can't go that way. We can only go that way. So our town's trying to grow. It's grown a lot. This town needs industry. What is that gonna generate in revenue for the future of our town? Our town's only got so much land. And if we put that out there, how's that gonna affect growth for subdivisions or industries later on down the line when we're all gone? That's what I worry about.
For that, actually.
I mean, that's a
She's been
big
dealing
issue.
with businesses lately that are wanting to come out that way. I'm sorry, Julie, you go right ahead.
For that property specifically, the property owner, who has control.
Yes, he does.
And he has said he's not going to sell it for a subdivision, that's not
Yeah,
what
but
he's going to do with it.
why did we annex it in?
We did, it was voluntarily annexed
He
in.
voluntarily annexed it in. and he
The mother
Yes.
voluntarily
Yeah.
annexed it in.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It was just.
I think it's a bad plan. I mean, I'm not against getting better water, but Winfield is cockblocked. We can't go that way. So anything we put out there now has to really be thought out, a process looked into, and make sure what you're gonna decide is for the future of this town, not the rest of Lincoln County. You all are from Lincoln County, I'm not, I'm from Winfield. I wanna see our town grow that way.
Yep.
We need history, yes, but we need something that's gonna bring an income back into our town. If you got somebody that's got 50, 100 people employed, that's money that this town has that could be a $20 million income for the sturdiness of this town to grow, fix. We got streets that need to be fixed. We got old sewer lines, water lines. That's what you need to look at look at the interest of the people in the town. You got people in there I don't even know. It's in the backyard. I would be able to live right too. But they gotta understand it's growth is growth. We need that growth to bring a sales tax money to this town, so this town can grow. Maybe down the line when we're 20 miles that way, yeah, put one out there. But not now, you're kind of like putting the door in front of your brand new parking lot, so you can't go past it. You don't wanna do that, right? You don't wanna put that there. Put it somewhere where, leave our town room to grow.
Yes, so 3 minutes is up, but I do know, now, Julie, I already know where you're going, because I've already talked to you, and he's talking about growth.
Right.
So I just very briefly, if you wouldn't mind just letting him know what you have heard from multiple businesses that are actually wanting to come out here.
So, and once again, this property owner said they're not selling it for anything else. So we're not taking something potentially else away. My job is to bring new businesses jobs, to same jobs. I've worked with several, and everybody, when you're bringing in these big high-paying industry things, and there's nobody's gonna bring up right in the middle of your town. They don't want to be right in the middle of your town, they want to be good neighbors. But you've got some property that's near you, that potentially would help to feed your town. These people are gonna employ several hundred people, they're gonna come in, they're gonna eat, they're gonna shop, they're gonna do their business here, use your gas station. But they have to have large amounts of capacity water, which is one of the reasons we're doing it. Being near the river, being near the rail, you have a huge advantage over here, because every big industry wants those things.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get this water project done. If they take it in the middle of the county, it's not feasible to move this. We have to be near the wells, and the wells have to be near the river.
Not this one, my backyard either.
Very briefly, because I need to get to Kelly.
I can tell you what, I know two guys who work for the city of Old Fallons, are big shots. That's this guy here, you look at him, he's a dummy, he ain't tell it. He was in on some of this sewer project to get started. And I talked to him tonight about it, nobody told me. He said it's a bad idea. It's gonna cost you millions of dollars to run them pipes all the way to the river, down the river road.
Who was that individual, Keith?
Brandon Gilbert.
Brandon Gilbert, okay.
You might wanna talk to him.
Yeah, I do actually.
And he said the same thing, if you're gonna put it from the river, why don't you just put it down at the river, put it up here like Old Fallon did? That's exactly what.
Okay, and then we'll move forward now. I'd like to move forward, because I know we're kind of short on time here.
Can I just one quick?
Yes, absolutely.
The one that's on 79 that's up in the air,
Sewer.
that's our sewer.
Yeah.
So, just so we're clear,
That's a sewer, not a water
wastewater,
treatment.
not a water
Yeah.
treatment, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about two different types.
Right, and that's what we kind of
Safety
keep
things.
getting a little confused on.
Talking about industrial in general.
Okay, now Ms. Colleen, you've got your 3 minutes here.
Thank you. I want to ask the board, as well as them, why should we allow this to be put within our city? Putting that in our city, we're losing the tax dollars from that land. Yes, it may not be a whole lot, I'm agreeing with that, but you're also depleting our homeowner values here. And it will deplete the values. You can say it won't till the cows come home, but it does. We will lose our homeowner value, which will let our taxes will be lowered, which will be less money for the city to operate it on. And we're already, all you've heard, everything they discussed tonight is the city don't have the money. Our budget is so tight it squeaks, and it's gonna be worse. What do you think? I feel it's gonna kill our town. That's my opinion. And this, I did ask for a picture of what a plant looks like. That was one of my questions. That's what, I want an aerial picture of what that looks like. We wanna know what all this is behind here.
It's that.
Cause this is what's in our backyard.
This is an example of the one that is in St. Charles.
Much larger.
Much
larger.
So that's what we're gonna have in our backyard.
This particular plant, that would be most similar to what we're talking about, that's in Ralston, no, not that one, the
How many
one you have a
people
picture
live
of.
in that hungry?
That's at Highway 61 and Highway
It's our
W.
backyard.
That's Highway 61 and Highway W in Rolls County.
Okay,
So you could look at aerial photos of that location and see that facility.
okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay, so it'll be owned and operated by Lincoln County then? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, so the city would be able to tap it and say, instead of, we can eliminate PWSD from our.
Ultimately, that's what they were
And
talking about.
possibly that could lower our water rate.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. However, I don't think the plant being within the city limits, like he said, we can only grow one way as a city, and that's north. That's the only way we can grow. Now, if you're willing to step on the feet of everybody that's been supporting the city the whole time with our tax dollars, then election time, I know things will change. That's the bottom line. We don't want this here. We don't want it in our backyard. If you need to build it, I don't understand why you can't build it down where the sewer treatment is, because the DNR requirement is 300 feet upper. You're digging up all that ground where you're gonna put the tanks in the ground at, is that correct? The tanks are in the ground, is that correct?
For the water treatment.
The water treatment, the tanks are in the ground, is that correct? That's what I was told.
Well, the building you're looking at in that picture, the majority of the tanks are the inside of that building.
Okay, but they'll be in the ground, is that right?
Not.
The reason why I'm saying, you're digging up all that dirt, you can use that dirt to build a levee system around your building.
No, floodplain regulations don't allow that.
So it allowed it for the other stuff down there.
They allowed that for the wastewater, because there is no, potential contamination for your drinking. So if we do have a 19 or a 93 situation, we can't take the risk of that overtopping a levee system. And now suddenly your entire water system is contaminated, so.
Okay,
That would be.
so it would
Billions and
contaminate the
billions.
drinking water. Okay, I understand that. So what about looking into other properties for sale within Lincoln County that aren't even that far? 40 acres, literally right across the street, gets the road, is for sale. And you're gonna be doing a lot of construction, what's the difference in making all that level for your levels that you need? And that's Lincoln County. So if Lincoln County wants to own and run it, they could put it right there. We just don't, these are our homes here. Personally, I've been here 20 years. I know there's people that have been here all their life. I don't wanna hear. We don't wanna hear. Here's my neighbors here. Stand up. We do not want this plant here. That's it. They got, where is this at? Here. Where's Kitson Road? Here? Here's Rusty's house, right here, I guess. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know where this is.
I think that's his house.
Yeah,
Now, I
not
can't
exactly
say-
for sure.
I can't
I'm not
put it in
exactly
blood.
for sure, I don't know.
Right across the road.
I just know that he's got markings of his parcels, I just don't know which ones.
Right across the road is a 40-acre lot for sale in Lincoln County. So you telling me that this, moving it from here to here and getting it out of the city limits where your people aren't gonna have the damage to their values. And there's nothing around there. There's nothing around there except for his house.
Yeah.
I've driven down that road. I don't know if you have, but I have. I just went down there the other day. That's how
Have you
And I
looked
mean,
at any
technically, you
other
can be annexed
property?
as well.
Is this the only piece of property that's ever been considered?
Is she on?
I wanna know, it's yes or no.
There's been multiple properties that have been looked at.
Did you
Are
look
they
at
something
40 acre lot?
Yeah, we need, I'm sorry, ma'am, but
That's okay, I'll sit
that's
down.
okay. And actually, we're probably,
I know, I'm out of time.
That's
I get
okay.
it. But I mean, it's just, we're so passionate about this because this is our life. They don't want it in their backyard, neither do we.
Time for the newspaper people to hear about it.
ma'am, normally we would have a form actually filled out. I will give you 1 minute just to speak briefly.
Okay, there's even other issues besides this whole list that we typed up. I mean, there's also a swale that I had put in my backyard because we get the downpours and it raises up to the back patio. It comes through her yard, my yard, and then towards
You know
yours.
about that?
What about the runoff? I mean, it's gonna be more concrete up there. That's another thing. She has a daughter that's.
Okay, I'm gonna let Quentin answer. Actually, he's up here shaking his head, so he is well aware of this, so I'm gonna let him answer you real quick.
And that is a legitimate question. You wanna know exactly how that water's gonna go. Most of the regulations, building codes require a runoff retention pond. So realistically, from the floodplain management office, because I also do that for the county, realistically, this could actually slow some of your runoff problems because they could build, if we got, I don't know how many acres it is, 20, I think you said.
Yeah.
But they could build a rather large size retention pond. So it could actually slow down some of your runoff issues.
And it's those words that don't give me a fun, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, I do, and we all want progress, we do.
Okay.
But we want it to be, like this gentleman said, in the right direction, where we're not sorry later. Could doesn't tell me that it'll go.
All right, we're done at this point. Okay, so at this point, I guess what we need to discuss, Karen, is, help me out here, you were gonna present.
Yeah, I'm thinking it to be like the rest of the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say it does actually need to be reversed, that's the way, okay, so. Okay, yeah.
Do we read it in its entirety?
Actually, I kind of think so, because,
Okay. To the Board of Aldermen, it is the Commission and the Public Works recommendation with an unanimous vote to proceed forward with the rezoning of the portion of the property located on Kitson Road in the city of Winfield to be zoned industrial for the purpose of a proposed freshwater treatment facility on the contingency of moving the boundary line further north from Great Owl's Way cul-de-sac and/or an increase of the buffer zone. The county is working with either the purchase, or working on the purchase of more land to the north, or moving the parcel further north to the northern property line to accommodate this. Jeremy is working with the county commission and Dave Van Leer on the boundaries. This is a vital step to be able to move forward and to get the information requests answered on where the structures and what areas are to be affected. This is a time-sensitive proposal, limited to 90 days from the start of the project proposal, giving to the end of November 2024 to be zoned and have the boundaries determined. Once the parcel lines are revisited, another planning and zoning meeting will be held to approve the recommendation of the subdivided to the parcel.
Yeah, because that's one of the main things as well, is the subdividing of that parcel. So, that's one thing that we couldn't actually decide upon, because we had talked about possibly moving it, so we couldn't even get anywhere on that. So you are needing an approval, okay, hold on here.
We're looking for,
An
our
approval.
recommendation for you to approve the rezoning from commercial to industrial for this particular parcel.
With,
From residential to
industrial.
I get that backwards, I'm sorry.
With the requirements,
Either
the conditions.
yeah, with the accommodations, the
With the
requirements.
accommodations, yes.
So at this hearing, is there anybody in support of this that lives there?
No. Not one. In fact, we had twice as many people here as we got tonight. Not one.
So I guess at this point, just because that's what we do, just to find out, I'll entertain a motion to change the current zoning from residential to industrial with the accommodations and recommendations of this letter, because we had talked about the parcels and having the movement. I would entertain a motion to approve it according to those. That would write it.
And when do you have to have this by? If it does pass, when do you need to have it approved?
I believe our due diligence period under the contract is up, end of November or first of December.
Just feel it's being rushed.
Okay, and so does that give my board here time? Or how does that work, Karen, as far as what you're needing as from planning and zoning?
My understanding is that if you all do approve this at this time, but should the contingencies not be met, then that pulls that away, and that can be reversed back to industrial, but then they'll have to look at.
Residential.
Residential, I'm sorry.
So if the contingencies are not met, then we just scratch and it goes back to residential.
Yeah, but at the same time, who's to say that those are going to be met and that we're gonna abide by what we just said here tonight? Like, there's no, you know what I'm saying, there's no contract or anything that, yes, we are going to follow this kind of thing. The flip side of that, we have to be careful, because that property can very easily be unannexed, and then they can do whatever they want to do.
Yep.
And then they're right in not
Well,
mine, because I'm on a hill,
Right.
but then he can put it right behind you.
You can
So-
unannex very easily.
So
Make
we
it
have to
into
be very careful on both sides of this, because yes, you guys don't want it, but if he really wants it that bad, he can yank it back from the city
He won't need any kind of
and go
ordinance,
even further.
guidelines, no anything like that at all, if he decides to unannex and make it Lincoln County. So that's another thing that's.
So that in the agreement when it was annexed?
Do what?
Was that in the agreement when it was annexed?
That it
they
stay?
could take that back?
They can do that anytime they want to.
Anytime they want to. Anybody can do that at any given time.
Well, I'll take mine out.
You just have to go through the legal court. You just have to go through the legal system and pay for it. Yep. You just pay for it. It's not cheap, but you have to pay
It's
for it.
literally that simple. All you have to do is say you don't want to be in the city anymore, and then go to the county and you change it.
It's a
So,
pricey penny, but you can.
I get what you're saying. I didn't know that, I thought once it was annexed, you would have to go, like, when you
There's a
get,
process.
when you get annexed, how you have to go like the board,
Yeah.
like they were doing with that.
They don't make it super easy to do, but it could.
Yeah.
There's a legal process that's actually, that.
I feel like we need to guarantee the funds and the contingents in writing before you proceed, that's my opinion.
Well, I think that it's kind of up to us to make sure that it actually, don't you feel that way as well? That it's pretty much up to us to make sure that these contingencies are actually met? And if they're not met?
I do, but I also get what they're saying, and they want to feel safe in that as well. Us just saying it here isn't secure, you know? So, I
Talking about a
think,
resolution?
I think what we should do is, and I know you guys don't want to hear this at all, I think that we should table this, not till the next meeting, but even if it's 2 weeks, so that we can go through these questions with them, get definite answers, get definite contingencies, and then let us as aldermen for them go talk to them individually, or we can all do, are we allowed to do a group meeting with them?
You could do a
You
special
can do a special
meeting.
meeting.
No, I'm talking, well, we would have to do a special if they approve it, but I'm talking about us as their aldermen,
You can do it.
meeting
do
them
whenever.
one-on-one.
As long as
there's
there's no
not
more than
quorum.
two.
Yeah, you can't have three, you
Are
can
you
have
good with
two.
that? If we get the answers,
Yeah.
the contingencies that they'll meet us with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Ward 2 can meet with Ward 2, Ward
Yeah.
1 can meet with Ward 1.
Are you
and
guys
that's
good
okay.
with that?
Table it until you get your.
But we can't table it for long, so we have to get moving on this so that we can get it done, because they have a deadline to meet too.
I feel,
Does
and I agree with you on that, however, I still feel like we're being rushed. It's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry
Now,
up.
let me ask you something, does that give you, because I know that we're talking about moving it a little bit north and the whole,
Right.
and from an engineering perspective, what's your timeline to be able to figure out what you can and cannot do?
Well, we've just gotta get it done, and whatever the timeframes are, we'll do our best to comply with. It sounds to me like what the city would be looking for is, so this subdivision plat up on the wall wasn't acceptable. Us working with you to determine a subdivision plat that would be acceptable, that we could bring back for approval, is that?
The subdivision
Well,
plat, I think itself is probably okay, except for what they were stating was that they really wanted movement more on the north side, away from their homes. Since their homes are down below, they just don't want that plant sitting right on their
Literally,
home.
here's my house right here, right there.
So, like, what they were wanting is they were just wanting, you know how you guys were gonna give the 100-foot buffer, and then you were gonna put the trees there, and then you were gonna put the 6-foot fence and all that good stuff, right? But that still technically puts that in their backyard, and I think that that's their biggest concern, is that they would just like to have it pushed out a little bit further,
I
so
have
they
one more
don't
big
have to have it
question.
necessarily in their
More
backyard.
of a
Not that it
500
can't be on that,
700 buffer.
yeah, so it's not that they don't want it, I think that they just want a larger buffer area.
We don't
That's a
want it there,
possibility.
we want it over here where it's away from the kids.
My question is too,
They just need more.
how quickly do you see this having to expand? And at what point where would you expand to if you did have to?
So that's also part of the reason for buying the amount of property that we're buying.
That would cover you
is to
from now
allow-
until the end of
is
time?
To allow for future expansion, because that's certainly the county's goal with this, is that this opens up development in the county and creates the need for more water, which would trigger expanding the plant to produce more water.
Because if there's those bigger, more expensive homes there, the ones that are over here, just saying.
Now, are you talking about just buying this 20 acres, or are you talking about buying that whole 75 acres?
No, just
Just
the
this
20.
one.
Just the 20.
Because on the internet, it shows on realtor.com that it's the whole 75 acres.
As of right now, it's not finally parceled off, because that's what we're doing now, is trying to get it subdivided to where they can do what they need to. It's gonna show that it's gonna be the whole lot right now on realtor.com, because we haven't finished and agreed upon what needs to happen.
Okay, it just looks like they're buying the whole thing.
No, it's just
No,
that,
no,
what's up there, that's all that's going for.
That's what it looks like.
And we're trying to communicate together and see if it could be pushed up further, so then that way it's not,
So, okay, so ultimately here, so you're talking about, because you know that everybody has questions, and you wanted to get those questions at least from the individuals, right?
Right.
You wanted to spend time with them. What kind of time frame do you actually feel as though that you need where we can reconvene as a board? Because we have to come back, because she's gonna have to have a meeting as well, which I believe that that's on what date?
November 12th at this point.
November 12th. Okay,
So so both, at this point, both the rezoning and the plat would need to go back through P and Z? Is that where we stand?
yeah, because it has to be, the plat itself has to be, approved and parceled out, yes.
Right.
It would not require another public hearing, it would be.
No, just
Yeah,
a
just
planning and zoning, right.
But you could do your P&Z meeting in conjunction with a special board meeting, do it all in one evening.
Yes, we could actually. Or we have a board meeting right after that, right?
well,
Well, if you guys can move it whenever, the next week, right? Bobby, when are you, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so you just definitely need to have an answer by the end of November, correct? As far as when this whether or not this gets approved, correct?
I think that's correct, yes. probably really we need approvals by that time.
Okay, so, and we could have, once the planning and zoning has their meeting on the 12th, we will have our meeting also in November. We're gonna talk about that date and what that date looks like, but it's gonna have to take place in November regardless anyway. At that point, you will have your answer. Will that be significant enough, or sufficient enough for you guys?
So you're talking like November 12th?
She's gonna have hers on the 12th.
14th.
Now, we're talking, I am not here that week, and Bobby is not here that week, and that's what we were gonna talk about, is when the best time after that is gonna be. I'm assuming it's gonna be the following week. I'm still not gonna be here, but I think Bobby might possibly be here. We need to work that out. So I'm thinking probably that, the second or third,
When are you gonna be back?
could you do it then? I'm not coming back till Thanksgiving. So,
First week,
Yeah, what about?
October 30th?
I am leaving on that Friday. So I've got the 8th, which is my birthday, is when I'm leaving, and I'm not coming back till
Why aren't you
Thanksgiving.
simply the engineer? Commissioners who are the ones.
Why aren't they looking
that
like
coordinate that?
So, I mean, we technically, I guess, could probably do, but we can't do it before her planning and zoning meeting. We have to wait till after her planning and zoning meeting, which is the 12th.
Can we bump yours up or no?
No, I think you were having issues all across the board.
We need to have
Can
Are
we
you
just,
here? Are you here on the planning and zoning night?
can we just do it all on the 12th?
You know, we could have like.
I'm not here, are you here?
I'll be here on the 12th.
Okay, well, then you guys want to do that 12th? Linda,
Yes,
you good with that?
yes.
Well, and we'll figure all that stuff out, but if it was on the 12th, would you be okay with that?
We'll make whatever date work.
Okay. All right, so, because I think it's a good idea for you guys to talk to your crew or whatever. I think it's mostly
Can you
gonna happen
just
with Ward 2, to be completely
About that
honest
other
with you,
property.
One,
I'll email you.
Yeah,
one request I would have is that between now and then, we try to
please be quiet, everybody.
understand what an acceptable buffer would be. If 100 feet isn't it, you know,
What are we looking at?
100 acres.
Please be quiet, he's speaking.
for the county to, this would be a decision for the commissioners, not for me, but for the county to buy property 700 feet wide, 500 feet deep, it's only to be used as buffer that they can't use. That's a lot of the property that they're purchasing and a lot of expense. So I think that's also gonna go into this
What's there?
discussion too. And it is ground we need.
Right.
We're not buying a excessively over amount of property. We have extra property there to expand in the future, but encumbering, a third of the property that can't be used for anything, I don't know if we will be able to make that work. So in this time between now and the next meeting, I would like to be able to get some feedback from the city as to what an acceptable buffer would look like.
Okay. And I know definitely too, because that's one of the concerns as well, is having that in their backyard, they don't wanna look at it and all that good stuff, so. Chemicals are really worrying.
So when we take a break real quick to go into closed session, I'll meet with you guys if you're okay with that and get your information, that way we can talk. And we'll kind of be middleman. I'll get with you guys and see when's a good time to meet with you. And then we'll figure all that stuff out. We'll go with questions and what contingencies you guys have, because I know another thing they're worried about is just going to sewer. They do not want that to be sewer at all. So even if we can get that as a contingency in there, that yes, it's a water plant right now with the potential of sewer later, that's an absolute no
They
for
don't wanna
them.
do any of that.
That needs to be in writing.
Again, I can't
Well,
speak,
we've got this,
I can't speak for the county, but I would be
Be
happy to
quiet.
recommend to them that
Right.
they
for
allow
sure.
the property to be deed restricted,
Yeah.
where it wouldn't allow construction.
Yeah. And that's all it is. It's a bunch of empty promises. So they want to know that securely this is what this is going to be, if that's what's to come. So,
And, excuse me, but like Dave said, you can put that in, you can make that a deed restriction, they can only be used for
Okay.
water treatment plant, and that's in the deed, so it can never change.
Okay.
That's a legal document.
okay.
And if
So
we
that restricts.
have to, I'm sure we can make like an ordinance or something that would help with that as well,
Yeah.
to where,
State that as
Yeah.
well, the use for that property.
The deed
Right.
thing,
You can restrict that.
We'll
property
get together with
restricted.
Tim, once we get all that figured out, we'll get together with
it's
Tim
just
and
all
draw.
that security.
Do we have to put both
It's a huge deal.
so it covers our butt?
So, and
You know,
it is for you guys too. So, we've gotta
Figure it out, yeah.
all find that happy place.
I would like the Lincoln
Okay,
County.
so,
They're not.
hey, Ray,
His family.
Did you find out the number for the
20 years.
closed sessions for me for,
Who's gonna go?
contract?
Travis.
Did you give me that number?
No, I've been too busy listening there.
I know, right?
All the older homes, there ain't gonna be a new one,
Forward on
just
that,
like
thank
it is
you.
now.
All right.